program today, we will be looking at the Nigeria inland waterways. Nigeria is blessed with over 10,000 kilometers of waterways, with just under 4,000 being navigable, and some say seasonally. Also, out of 36 states in the country, about 28 can be accessed by water, and we can also reach at least 5 neighboring countries via water. So what's going on in this department? A lot of Nigerians are in the dark. So today we are in the office of no one else but the Managing Director, National Inland Waterways. To answer our questions today is no one else but the Managing Director of the National Inland Waterways. He is Dr. George Moghalu. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and welcome too.
So much has been happening in the waterways, but first we will ask you, it's been 1 year since you took over the helm of affairs in this agency. How has it been? What is your story 1 year down the road?
Let me begin by welcoming you to our office, our Abuja office. Actually, you may interest you to know that we're headquartered in Lokoja, Kogi State, with offices, branch offices. We call them area offices in about 26 states of the country, and which where you are now is the Abuja area office. I would say that my 1 year has been quite interesting, quite challenging, and I will also add a little bit innovative, because we are trying to do things we've not done before. We are trying to change the narrative. We're trying to tell our story. Because when I was appointed the MD of NIWA precisely on the 8th, I resumed office on the 8th of October 2019. That was the first day I reported in office in Lokoja. I realized very clearly, and it was very clear to me, and I made it as a policy statement, that NIWA was underreported. Most people didn't know about the National Inland Waterways Authority. They don't know what we do. In fact, the acronym NIWA was sounding Greek to many people, and it's a consequence of not knowing about the agency. Even it was so bad that a lot of people didn't even know that NIWA was an agency in the Ministry of Transportation. That goes to tell you how bad it was. So I felt, and I noticed it, and I said that if there's anything I consider my first challenge, that is the fact that we're underreported, and I have to covet the support of the media to bring NIWA to the front burner, to bring NIWA to the knowledge of Nigerians, so that they will know what we do, they will know what is expected of us, they will also know what is expected of them. Because even a lot of them who are using our right of way, even a lot of them who have responsibilities to NIWA, didn't even know they do. So we needed to get them to understand who we are, get them to know that there was an act establishing NIWA, and the act clearly spelled out all our responsibilities, and then so that it provided people the opportunity to know. And another thing I realized also was that the morale of the staff was not the way I would wish to see it. So I saw that also as a challenge, because I needed to get them to understand my vision. I needed to get them to key into my vision, because if you don't get the people who are under you, people who you have responsibility to understand who you are, know where you're coming from, know where you want to take the agency to. If you don't do that, certainly they cannot be in the same page with you, and as such you have problems. So I noticed that there was also that challenge, that I needed to get them to appreciate who themselves are, to get them to understand that we need to grow the institution, to grow the authority, so that it can be beneficial to every one of us. So I saw that as a challenge, and we also put it as one of the things we needed to address, and so far so good. Today I can boldly say that I have the support of both the management and the staff, even the board. We are working together as a team, with a view to actualizing the mandate, establishing NIWA, and then bringing to reality those vision, those things I have conceptualized, so that we can develop the waterway industry. Taking a cue from what you said when you were introducing the program, it is one area that has great potentials. I must be honest with you, because from the geography you enumerated, we have over 10,000 kilometers of waterway. You are right when you say just about over 3,000 is only navigable, okay, and we can reach 28 states by water, and we're about 5 countries, neighboring countries, we can reach also by water. So you can imagine the potential if all our waterways are all year round navigable. So that challenge also is there. Another challenge which is not peculiar to the National Inland Waterway is the challenge of funds. Okay, if you notice, the fund availability is drastically reduced, because if you notice, by the time this government came into office, oil, which was our mainstay, which has remained the mainstay of our economy, dropped from over $100 per barrel down to less than $30 per barrel. Okay, at the same time, promises have been made, commitments have been established, so everybody was still expecting that you will do those things. So they required that we have to look inwards, that every agency, every authority had to look inwards to see how we can grow our IGR, that is the internally generated revenue, so that we can be able to cushion the shortfalls that we'll encounter as we get along. And while we're saying this, while we're discussing this and looking at how to go, COVID-19 came, the pandemic came, and then this one is a world pandemic. It was a world phenomenon, so nobody planned for it, nobody put in the calculation, so it kind of altered the entire equation, created its own problems, but we still had to confront it and move on. So some of these are the challenges one found when one came into office after my appointment. But by the grace of God, within this 1 year, we've done quite a lot to address these challenges.
Would you guide us through some of your achievements?
Yes, one can boldly say that today nobody can say that NIWA is underreported. Okay, now we have tried to we haven't gotten to where we want to be. I want that point clearly made. We are still, it's a work in progress, because we are working hard, and but I'm happy to say that we have received the support of our friends in the media, who have given us encouragement, who have supported us to bring NIWA to speed, to the people's consciousness. So that we also will take credit for. Then we talked about the COVID-19 challenge. When it came, we saw it as one thing we needed to confront, okay, like every other agency of government, apart from the fact that we contributed physical cash, both to Lagos State Government COVID-19 Committee. We also made some financial contribution to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. We also made available our vessels for movement of medical supplies and palliatives to the hinterland. All those areas water you can access by water, we made available our vessels. We also ensured that all the protocols, everything that we expected to do, we are doing them. For example, you can't just get into any of our jetties without observing the protocols of washing your hands, without wearing your face mask. You can't even enter on any of the vessels without wearing up-to-date and current life jackets. Because one thing, since I have this opportunity, let me also let people understand that life jackets expire. Okay, life jackets is not something that is buy once and never again. No, life jackets expire. So we also have ensured that you can't just enter any of the vessels through any of our jetties without being properly kitted, wearing your life jacket, and then obeying all the other protocols like wearing your face mask, washing your hands, sanitizing your hands. These are things we have been able to put in place. Even in any of our locations, any of our facilities, even our headquarters, you have to obey those basic protocols. We've been able to develop some jetties. It may interest you to know that we have built a brand new jetty in a place called Odekbe in Anambra State. Moghalu, precisely. We're also building a new jetty. It's almost completed in Iwobi in Ogun State. Okay, we also have completed some projects. We did massive renovations in our headquarters. We also entered into private, the PPP arrangement, and the brand new world-class jetty is coming up now as we speak on Queen's Drive in Ikoyi. Okay, as we speak now, through PPP arrangement also, the entire Oyimbo jetty is being completely rebranded. If you go there now, you'll be impressed with the level of work that is going on. The Lokoja River port that has been abandoned for quite some time, I'm also happy to say that within this time, the federal government has approved a review of the contract. In fact, the contract was awarded at 4 I can't remember exactly, precisely, over 4 billion naira. But now it's been reviewed to about 6 point some fraction million naira. So work is about to start. The contractor submitted a work plan. We're doing the tidying up so that they can go back to site to get that project completed. But we've started that. We have also entered into negotiation with private sector players who are interested in helping us get to Guta River Port also completed, because that port, federal government has invested over 2 billion on that port, but the port has been abandoned for quite some time, and then that is not unacceptable. It's just unacceptable, because what it means is that the money already invested by the federal government will be wasted, and that is not acceptable. Meanwhile, the port is over 50% completed. So because of the paucity of funds, we're also entering into negotiation with private sector investors who are ready to partner with us so that we can get that project off the ground. As we speak, we have provided an alternative power supply to our headquarters. Within this period, we have completed our Yola area office. The refencing is going on as we speak. There are quite a lot of things we've been able to do. And we're procuring new badges during our 2019 procurement process. We started procuring new badges to help us, and in 2020 we also continue with the process, getting ambulances and things like that, water ambulances, so that we can position them. If you watched the media about 4 weeks ago, I was in Yauri to commission a 36-seater ferry boat that was sent to Yauri, though we partnered with our friend, the Senator Balana Anla, because it was part of his constituency projects to get those vessels. Two other ones remaining. One is almost completed in Lagos. They've done the sea test. We're going to move it down, and then the one in China, we couldn't go to do the inspection and confirmation because of the challenge with the COVID-19. So we've been able to do quite a lot of things. I will also avail you with our brochure so that you can look at, in specific terms, to see the projects we've started and we've completed.
We talked about all of these things you've done, plenty of money, and then you also talked about donating towards the federal government fight, the COVID-19 fight. And that brings me to IGR, because one of the things you decided or tackled, or you are tackling, is dismantling illegal structures along the waterways in order to increase NIWA's IGR. So to hear all of the things you've done, that means that IGR must have been...
No, we're doing a lot of things. Like I said, the COVID-19 was a big challenge, a major setback. But be that as it may, we don't want to look at it. We don't want to look at our challenges, our difficulties. We don't want to move our eyes out of the ball. Okay, we are focused on generating income legitimately. And that is what we are doing. For example, we are trying to, how do I put it now? We're trying to use technology to organize our IGR. Okay, we're trying to partner with some groups that are trying to help us optimize our potentials, our opportunities using technology. For example, a lot of people who are, we don't have proper data. Before I came, proper data as to who are on our right of way and what they're supposed to pay. Okay, but now we're trying to get them using technology to make sure that everyone is captured within the framework of our revenue profile. For example, there are telecommunication companies that are owing us by the activities on right of way. We have oil companies that are owing us as we speak now. There is a team that is doing enumeration of pipelines that are crossing our waterways. Okay, these are revenue sources that have not been harnessed in the past. But this time around, we want to get all of them to pay what is due to NIWA so that we can have our money and be able to do the things we need to do, because there's quite a lot to do to make sure that we explore to the maximum, to the hilt, the potentials of our waterways.
Yes, speaking of the potential, staying with that, just before you came into office, somewhere around September, Minister of Transport Rotimi Amechi had told the Lagos State government against via court process to hands off the waterways. And then he went on to say that the nation needs to do both capital and maintenance dredging to create employment. If people decided to move, more people will decide to move their goods via water. My question actually is, what is your office doing to harness all our potential so we can maximize the waterways, the amount of waterways that we have?
All right, if you look at it from the perspective of what you said, the minister said, yes, truly, you have two kinds of dredging, the maintenance dredging and the capital dredging. And like I said when we started this interview, that resources is not so much available as it used to be. So embarking on a capital dredging is quite capital intensive. Okay, probably that's why it's called capital dredging. It's very heavily capital intensive. So the resources may not be there. So as an organization, as an agency, with the support of the ministry, both my minister and the Minister of State, they've been quite supportive, wonderfully supportive. So because of their support, with the support we have received from them, we are now focusing our attention more on maintenance dredging. And that's why in our 2019 procurement, there was a provision for procurement of dredger. Even in the 2020 procurement that is ongoing now, there's also a provision for procurement of dredger. The question now is why? We are trying to get this dredger so that we can, as an authority, do the regular maintenance dredging to make sure that the channels that we are opening are all year round navigable, so that we can remove whatever obstruction that there may be, so that we can move cargo. I forgot to tell you that we played an experiment, okay? Because you may know that Onitsha River Port has been completed long ago and not in use. So when I came into office, I felt that one of the things I needed to do was to get the Onitsha River Port to move, to become active. Because if you look at the volume of cargo that goes on our roads, it's just unacceptable. I tried to draw an analogy. If 1,000 containers are going from Lagos to Onitsha, the implication is that 1,000 trailers will be on the road. If 10 million containers are going from Lagos to Onitsha, what it means is that 10 million trailers will be on the road. And that is not acceptable, because these roads are not designed to carry the weight that we place on them. Therefore, their lifespan certainly has to be short. Again, if we continue moving our cargo only by road, there is no way we can decongest the Lagos port. It will be constantly congested, because every one of us agrees that over 50% of the cargo that comes, the containerized cargo that come to these ports, end in the southeast, Onitsha and Aba. Same thing is applicable to One port. Everything that comes there, 50-60% of it end in Onitsha and Aba. Why do we have to wait to move them by road? Why can't we move them by water? So that is what informed my decision. Despite all the discouragement, despite all the challenges, we said no, we will experiment it. Fortunately, some private players bought into my vision. We now experimented with the moved badge. Moved badges from One to Onitsha. I carried empty containers and returned back to One. But still, some people still say it's politics we are playing. I try to understand our people, but I forgive them, because you don't also blame them. If a port that was conceived 42 years ago and nothing has happened there, for them it is a dead cause. But for me it is no. I decided, with the support of my management, with the encouragement of the ministry, to ensure that we put that port into active use.
Yes, so what is the situation with the port? Because some say that even small vessels or barges still cannot ply.
It is like, it's this analogy, this story that I needed to debunk. It is this scenario that people are creating, scenario of impossibility, that I needed to debunk. Okay, how did the barges that came from One to Onitsha, how did it come? It's not something you can put in the pocket and come and drop. It came by water from One to Onitsha and returned to One by water. And it was there for everybody to see, because I insisted it should be recorded. Because I was expecting such reactions. Because of me as a person, people will say, oh, he's playing politics with it. It's expected. I have no apologies for it. That I'm a politician, I have no apologies at all. So long as I have my eyes on the ball to get to my desired destination. And my desired destination is to make the Onitsha River Port functional.
So what is the situation at the moment?
The situation at the moment now is that the next phase of our test run is to move cargo from Lagos to Onitsha. And I will do it by the grace of God. We have set on the machinery, we are putting things in place, and very soon it will happen again. And the moment it happens, you see, the human psychology, ordinarily, we would like government to start first. 2 weeks ago, I was with the Onitsha business community to explain to them what I'm doing, because some of them wanted to know the truth. To explain to them what I'm doing and to get their support. And I'm happy, by the time I left that meeting, I was satisfied that they bought into it. And they saw my vision, they saw my sincerity, they saw my commitment, and then assured me of their support. And that's exactly what I need. And we are focused on this project. We will deliver it, because we have done the Onitsha test run and it worked. We are going to do the Lagos Onitsha Lagos test run, and it will work. And by the time we do this, 2 things will happen. We'll break a 42-year-old jinx, which we have already broken with the Onitsha route. We have broken the jinx. Now, people, private sector players, will now become confident to join in the process, because now it is a government thing. We have tried to create an enabling environment. Even as we speak, one of the barge operators who were engaging to move this cargo has even gone a step further to secure an insurance cover for the cargo that will move by water from Lagos to Onitsha, so that nobody will feel unsafe, or that his products or his goods or his commodities are not secure. So we want to tie all these loose ends. And by the time we move this cargo, I'm sure we would have broken the jinx completely. And then the private sector players, who are the major beneficiaries, will now key in. And then this project will start. And when it starts running the way we want it to run, it has enormous potentials, enormous benefits. We reduce the pressure on our roads, we decongest our ports, we develop new cities, we create fresh employment opportunities for our sons and daughters.
One of the very big supporters you have, because if people say it's politics, we find that former governor Moghalu is not in the anyway, but I'll just say what he said. He said the activities of the seaport will drive industrialization and sustainable development.
Correct.
in Onitsha and the entire south.
That's correct.
Southeast. But what's the situation with the concessioneering process?
The process.
Which, the manager, Mrs. Queen Uba, had said that's the reason the Onitsha River Port was put on hold.
No, nothing was put on hold. The truth about it is that the concessioning process is ongoing. Precisely last Tuesday, we had a virtual due diligence of the Port of Antwerp. They were supposed to be technical partners for the port. We were supposed to go to Port of Antwerp for the due diligence. But because of the corona pandemic, traveling was suspended. We had been saying, okay, it will stop, and the delay, we found that it was delaying so much. We had no choice than to do a virtual due diligence. And that we have concluded between today and next tomorrow. I'm sure that the report of the technical advisors, the transaction advisors, will be submitted. And once that is submitted, then we take it on from there. So the concessioning process is ongoing. it is not hindering what we are doing. By the time we open up the waterways, by the time the Onitsha River Port is actively functional, by the time barge movement is on a daily basis now, and we are concluding the concession, all is part of the growing process. The important thing is that Onitsha River Port is critical, is important, not only to the economy of Onitsha, but the economy of the Southeast, and indeed Nigeria. And then we move on to the next stage of making every effort for Onitsha River Port to become a port of destination and origin. The moment we're able to achieve that, then simplicity, everything is done.
So by that time, we would have what some people say now, no customs presence.
Correct.
There.
No, because the moment it becomes a port of destination, a port of origin, then certainly all those attachments that has to go with a complete river port will just be there, because it means that you can clear your consignments directly in Onitsha. You require the customs, you require other agencies of government. For you to even to export, you require other agencies of government to be at the port. Once it is declared a port of origin and a port of destination, those things you expect, you will now see them fully active there.
The COVID-19, which is one of the reasons you gave for some sort of delay and eventually had to do a virtual program, it's not about to clear, it's not going anywhere soon. So can there be a timeline for Nigerians? When is this likely to be fully actualized?
No, we have come to terms with the fact that COVID-19 is there. It has come to stay. We thank God that it's not as bad in our country as it is overseas, especially in Europe. We thank God for that. So for us now, we're not even looking at it as an impediment. We are looking at it as part of nature. It's part of what we are seeing. So whatever we are doing irrespective of the issue of COVID-19. So for us, it's not an impediment now. We have come to terms with that fact, and we are dealing with our program.
Could it be, just asking, some say you have political ambitions to be governor of Anambra State, is why some say, oh, that's why you are hyping the Onitsha River Port, which is not ready, you're hyping it's for your personal ambition.
You see, it may interest you to note that even some of our staff didn't know the arrangement we are making about getting badges to move from Onitsha to Onitsha, because we wanted to reduce visibility until we were able to break the jinx.
What? Some of them jinx, by the way.
Because nobody has done it in 42 years. And even when I started it, a few people I mentioned it to say I shouldn't try it, that it will not work. Most of the people I discussed it with said, don't waste your time. It will not work. If they don't say draft is too low, they say militancy, they say security. I was having all forms of discouraging narrative. All forms. We kept it to ourselves. We didn't want people to know. The badges now came from One, arrived on Onitsha. The people operating the badge called me that they have arrived. I said, okay. I told some of my general managers that the badges are in Onitsha. I told them to keep loading. They loaded the badges. I had to come to the east. On Sunday, I left church and went straight to Onitsha. That was the tape they saw me cutting. I was cutting off the tape for the tongue to move. That was what happened. So it was now when the badge has left with the containers off, as he was approaching the second Niger bridge, the Niger bridge itself, to cross, and then photographers started taking photos. I said, okay, you can go ahead now and take photos, because now we have been able to do it. But some people still, because you see, when you have honest intention, I've told people, I'm a politician, I have no apologies. I have ambition, I have no apologies. But we must be honest enough, sincere, to separate politics from governance. Politics, we know when it will stop. And the point where it stops is when governance begins. What we are talking about now is the destiny of a nation. We are talking about the life of a people. For me, I have challenges. I have targets I've set for myself. Because when I was given this appointment, it was a demonstration of confidence by my two ministers. And then the minister recommended to the president that so and so person should be appointed the managing director of NIWA. The president approved it. That is a further demonstration of confidence. So for me, I have a moral justification, even before God, to justify these confidences. Even to my family, even to my children, even to my wife. Because my life, one way or the other, impacts on them. Even to my friends, who believe that George, once he touches something, he wants to achieve result. So these are things that are bothering me. The politics not bothering me yet. When we get to the politics, we play it. Those ones are not bothering me. What is bothering me is what history will say about me. That is my concern now. And that is why I want, apart from the river port, other ports to be functional. Otherwise, the investment there is wasted. And I wouldn't support it. The first place I visited, immediately after my appointment, was to go to Barrow River Port by water. I resumed work on the 8th. On the 10th, I was on water going to Barrow to go and see the river port. World-class port, properly equipped, but not in use now, as it should be. That's also part of my concern. We identify the challenges, which is principally no road. Now, government is giving attention to the roads, the issue of roads. So for me, anything I will do to get that port also functional. As we speak, some people have demonstrated interest in concessioning of the Barrow port, and we have given them opportunity. We are talking with them because I want the port also to be functional. So it's not about politics. You go to River Port that I'm looking for private partners who can do the funding because of the limited resources available to me now. Is it also part of politics? Am I also running for governor of Imo State or governor of Niger State? So, but I'm not bothered because it's part of what is expected.
Now more ports are coming up. Onitsha, you talked about Barrow, Lokoja. It used to just be on there in that whole axis. What are the implications for the everyday Nigerian, apart from the lifespan of our roads? What are the other implications?
There's a lot of business. A lot of business. I remember when I went to visit the Uguta River Port, and I was received by the traditional ruler and his council in Osemoto. He was telling me, he asked me bluntly, he said, what has gone wrong? That as a child here, that vessels were coming from Liverpool up to Osemoto. He said, what has gone wrong? I had no answer. Because it was a statement of fact. I asked questions. Why can't that be repeated? When I went to Onitsha River Port first, I visited the traditional ruler of Onitsha, His Royal Majesty Iwe Achibe. And in the course of our discussion, he told me that his mother was doing business, moving cargo by water from Onitsha to Barrow and back. I think she was moving palm oil or things, and comes back with cola nut and things. Why can't we repeat that again? This document here, all documents here, is a proposal from a company that wants to do ferry business between Lokoja and Onitsha. I will have a meeting on Wednesday so we can close the deal because I want them to start tomorrow. There's quite a lot we can achieve. It's not only about our roads, which is a key, which is a major problem we have solved. It has also cost implication. It's cheaper. Far cheaper. And then we create new towns. Take for example, if a vessel is coming, or a barge is coming from Lagos to Onitsha, there are points they will stop. particularly those areas we have jetties and what have you. They stop there either to meet friends or whatever. They will stop there. I can assure you that by the time vessels stop at a particular point 2-3 times, new towns will develop there and new businesses will grow there. We have not even talked about the tourism potential of our waterways. And that is a massive investment in our economy. So there's quite a lot. You can't quantify it. That's why, for me, we can't achieve all in one day. Being honest with you. We're taking them piecemeal to make sure that it works. Gradually, we'll get to our desired destination. The important thing is that we know where we want to go. We know where our eyes is set on. It's a matter of consistency. It's a matter of commitment. We'll continue gradually with the support we're receiving, both from the president, both from our ministers and the ministry. We'll certainly get there.
As we begin to round up, this is something probably as a child I've been meaning to. I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk about this. Growing up, we used to hear on the NTA news about the problem of water hyacinth. I learned that word when I was a child from NTA, water hyacinth. And till today, the problem persists. What is happening in that direction? And also talking about safety on our waterways. We keep hearing about boats capsizing in the north, in Lagos, and hardly any survivors except for a recent one. I guess that was in Lagos.
Yeah.
What's going on in these areas?
Water hyacinth is not a one-off thing. It's seasonal. It comes, it goes, it comes like that. It's a regular thing. So if you look at the procurement in NIWA, long before I came, even 2019, even 2020, you see consistently provision is made for the removal, either mechanical or manual removal of water hyacinth on our waterways. And I was meant to understand that this water hyacinth travels from Benin Republic, it keeps coming and it keeps moving and it keeps spreading. So what we do on a regular basis, even we also have our own equipment that we use to remove water hyacinth. Apart from the fact that at times they are all through procurement processes, we get other companies to help also in removing that. The same problem we have with floating debris, okay, which also being addressed, because these are challenges that we have noticed that requires constant maintenance so that our waterways can be all year round navigable. And that's why when we say we are training our waterways, we're training our rivers, river training, it has to do with this clearing of a theme, removing wrecks, removing water hyacinth, floating debris, setting up buoys, and what have you, for putting up navigational aids to encourage navigation. So it's not a one-off thing. It is not something you say, okay, I've removed the water hyacinth on River A, it's not going to come there again. No, you can finish removing it by the next season. You have as much, if not even greater quantity than the one you removed last year. So it's something that we keep doing every day. And then because we are conscious of that fact, we are laying emphasis on the issue of our river training, and it's part of what we do. Then the issue you said about security, yes, security is of great concern, and we are conscious of that fact. Our excitement is that government is also very conscious of that fact, and all agencies, maritime agencies, are also conscious of that fact. The ministry is conscious of that fact, and every effort is geared towards ensuring security on our waterways. It may interest you to know that NIWA as an organization has NIWA police. As we speak, yes, we have a police force that is NIWA. It's being managed or is being led by a deputy commissioner of police. Okay, that is NIWA police. All right. So also we have the marine police. Okay, all these agencies are all geared towards ensuring safety and security on our waterways. And it provides me an opportunity also to appreciate the Navy for what they are doing in helping to ensure that our waterways are safe. Everybody is concerned, and everything must be done to ensure that we have all year round security. Security is not only limited to the challenge is not limited only to the waterways. You have security on land, security challenge on land, you even have everywhere. So, but the point is that for the waterway security, every effort is being made to ensure that our waterways are secure. And the commitment of the Navy, the police, the army, everybody's commitment to ensure that aspect of our challenges addressed is quite commendable, and we appreciate it.
Okay, what would you say to Nigerians? We talked about boats capsizing across the country. Is there any role that the average Nigerian plays? Because sometimes we are told the boats.
No, it's not mainly that. It's not mainly that. The experience has proven that most of the accidents are consequences of refusal to follow protocol. For example, we don't allow, as a matter of policy, night navigation, because most of the vessels don't have night navigational aids. So going to navigate in the night is just a problem waiting to happen. But you still find people going into the waterways in the night. We do everything to stop them. We've organized seminars, we've organized trainings. Boat owners, we've engaged them. Boat drivers, we've engaged them. We have a training school now in Warri to train boat drivers and certify them so that they can be qualified boat operators. We're doing that. But you still find people going to navigate. But I can assure you that no NIWA jetty will allow any vessel to operate once it is 6:30 p.m. Now, you also find cases of some accidents are caused by overloading and overspeeding. Like the last one that happened in Benue, that over 20 persons lost their lives. It was a consequence of overloading. The boat was designed to carry, I think, about 12 persons or 13. He ended up carrying 20-something. So how do you expect the boat not to capsize? That is not to say that there are no challenges like accidents, like hitting obstacles on the waterway. Those ones are not, you can't say they don't happen, but not on a regular basis, not as much as the challenges we have. And then again, people at times go to enter vessels without wearing life jackets. You purposely disobey the protocol. What you've done actually is to risk your life. But we're doing our best as an agency of government to educate our people, to let them understand the implication of taking such actions against themselves this time. Because for me, it's against themselves. Putting your life at risk knowingly is a very unfortunate thing to do. But people still do it, not minding. So, but we are now trying to enforce it. The last time I went to Lagos, talked with agency, I told them that our police now will be impounding vessels that are not river-worthy. Because some vessels are not river-worthy. But for commercial considerations, they can now put them on water and then carry our people and go and kill them.
Oh, finally from me, and maybe if you have anything to add after this, when you assumed office, you said you want to leave NIWA better than you met it.
Yeah.
So with all these developments, it's like so much is happening in the agency. What should we expect? Where are you going from here?
You know, I said something which I would like to repeat here. The first day I engaged the staff, the first day I reported NIWA. I said by the time I finish, that my vision is that by the time I finish office, by the time I leave office, I want water transportation to be the transport means of choice, both for cargo and for human personnel. So if I'm able to achieve that, I'm good to go. And I still want to emphasize it. I want, by the time I leave office, let water transportation be the transport means of choice.
Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure as always.
You have heard from him, the Managing Director, National Inland Waterways, Dr. George Moghalu. So much is happening, and we do hope that at the end of this interview, you have learned a thing or two. You might always also want to play this back, come back and listen to it again. So much to learn. It has been a good time here, and on this note, we will want to wrap it up. My name is Vivian Okenya. See you again.